channel. So here we are at Ustream, no, at the Ultrabook News. I'm going to be saying Meet Mobility tonight, UMPC Portal tonight, and Meet Mobility and Ustream and everything tonight. But it's ultrabooknews.com/live tonight, where we've got the ASUS UX21, the ZenBook, the Ultrabook. It's the 11.6-inch version of their ZenBook range. We're going to go over it in 3 sections, probably be 3 videos going up on YouTube of this if you're watching. Have a check for the part 2 and part 3 videos. It's live. There's a chat session going on the side here, and in this first part I'm just going to go do a very quick unboxing of the device. Thank you to ASUS for sending it over. It's ASUS, ASUS Germany. Their PR people sent it over last week. We've got the unboxing video up, and we'll be doing a full review next week once we've done the final tests at the weekend. Ultrabooknews.com is a new site of mine. It's only 4 months old, but it's growing very strongly right now. Ultrabooks is a very important mobile theme. It's leading edge laptops in the mobile space and leading edge technology. Much more processing power than you get on a netbook, and a big dynamic range of operating scenarios. So it's something I've been interested in since about a year before. Well, MBA 2 years ago, nearly 3 years ago, got me quite interested in this area. A high dynamic range computing, I call it. Anyway, let's get into a little bit of an unboxing. If you're not following on Twitter, Ultrabook News, it's at Ultrabook News, and we're also on Facebook.com/Ultrabook News as well. Please like the page, it helps us. Okay, so this is the ZenBook. One quick check on the chat channel that everyone's listening, hearing me. The video's okay, it seems to be stable. Let's hope it stays stable. Right, very quick unboxing. Let's go through it. Really nice packaging from ASUS, and it's obviously quite a small set of packaging as well. There's the device. So I'll go over that in much more detail in a bit. But obviously you can see it is super thin, and it looks very slick. It looks superb, feels very strong. Let's put that to the side a sec though, because I want to show you a couple of other things which are really important, especially when it comes to mobility and traveling. Here's the plug. It's a blister pack, a wall blister type plug they call it, i.e. it plugs straight into the wall. There is no separate cable and adapter. There is obviously the EU adapter that comes here, and I believe this is this is a standard kettle connector inside. So what you can do is use your standard extension cables and your local plug if you're traveling, or you can try and get hold of those. But it's fairly small and light, and it's got a really nice long cable on it as well. So that's well thought out by ASUS. You might not think the same about the next 2 things that are coming up though, because here we have a result of micro connectors, or a lack of connector space on this Ultrabook in particular. So what we got here is it's either a mini VGA, I haven't actually worked it out if it's mini VGA or a mini DisplayPort connector to VGA. So on the ASUS in that corner there is a mini connector there that breaks you out into VGA. Now there are a lot of people that use VGA for connecting to overhead projectors in many meeting rooms across the world. So that is going to be really important to take with you, and it's going to be a real pain in the ass if you lose it. One of the bad points about the UX21 in terms of the ports. Here's the Ethernet connector. It's a USB 2. It might be USB 3 actually. I'm not sure if it goes up to Gig E. I believe though it's 10100 and USB 2. I'm not 100% sure, but 100 megabits per second is probably going to sort most of you out. If you need Gig E, you'll have to go for a USB 3 to Gig E converter. But anyway, that's the other converter. They go in a little bag there, and there's another little bag under here, which is kind of funny. It's a bit like the envelope that the first MBA was advertised in, right, three years ago, and that slots in like that. There's a little magnetic catch there, and it looks really nice. It's stylish. It's not blingy. One person that commented on Ultrabook News had a concern that the device looked blingy, so if you're going to take it out on business. No, I don't think that looks blingy. It looks quite good actually. But the case is quite important because this is a aluminium finish, and although this one hasn't got any scratches on yet, I have seen UXs that have got scratches on. They're the ones that have been demoed around over the last 3 or 4 months. There's a scratch area that's kind of here and here. I don't know whether these are raised, but actually there's a little tiny scratch on the left hand side here, so you might want to be really careful and keep the sleeve with you all the time, and all that adds up in terms of weight to a total of 1.5 kilograms with all the connectors and the cases and the power supply. So 1.5 kilograms in total there with everything. So let's quickly go around the UX21. You've probably seen the unboxing video, but I'll correct a mistake that I made. I called this, I believe, I think I called this a micro HDMI, but as I said just now, it's either a mini VGA or mini display port, and you can use the adapter. Here's USB 2, and here's a headset port. I think it's only got a picture of a headphone on it, but I think it's a headset port, so the mic can go in there as well. On the other side, one single USB 3 port. It's sleep and charge capable, so you can configure it to charge when it's off or in standby, or and also to stop charging at certain battery levels as well. There's a little configuration program for that. There's a DC in and the micro HDMI output. There's a little flashing light there. I don't know if you can see that, but that shows when it's in standby, a little white flashing light. You probably can't see that. So of course on the front there's nothing there at all. It's very thin. And then underside of it, of course, nothing there. Again, it's aluminium. There are mini Torx screws on the outside there, so you could potentially access inside if you feel the need. 4 rubber feet, and that's about it, apart from the speakers left and right that are there, and they're actually very good. Not fantastic in terms of hi-fi quality sound, but for a laptop, especially one of this size, they're really above average, I would say. And that's about it. On the back, there's the hinge, and it's a really sturdy hinge. It just feels so solid, this device. In fact, it's worth mentioning, it feels a little bit dense. When you pick it up, it doesn't feel light. It's because it's a small device, and because there's so much metal, it is a very dense device. It's actually lighter than most netbooks, 1.1 kilo. But the eye kind of tricks you into thinking it's going to be a little bit lighter than it is when you pick it up. So let's open it up, and there's the instant on. It's supposed to be 2 seconds, but it's usually well under that. Let me just quickly take you around the device, and then we'll have Q&A about this very important area right in front of me right now. Keyboard. So like I said, we'll talk a little bit more about this afterwards because it's worth doing in detail. Here's where the vents are, up the top here. So that's where the exhaust port is for the fan, and the fan does kick in if you really start to use the device. So in gaming or video editing, it really pushes the breeze out. Negative and positive points there, because obviously in a negative way it's noisy. In an office environment with this set in quiet office mode, the fan turns off, so that's good. The positive thing about the fan being so powerful is that it does actually keep the device pretty cool. The underside of the device stays cool, and more importantly, it cools down the cores well enough for the turbo boost to last longer than I saw on the 13.3-inch Samsung 900X3A. Now that's really important, because if you're expecting turbo to work all the time, it doesn't. When the device heats up, turbo kicks in and knocks it back down again to 1.8 gigahertz in this case. If you're using a Core i5 at 1.6 gigahertz, obviously it's a lot less, and the differential between turbo boost and standard clock rate is quite high. So it's important you've got a good fan in there to keep the CPU cool so that you get the best out of the turbo. In doing some gaming today, in doing some video rendering today, I saw stable CPU clock rates of 2 to 2.2 gigahertz. Obviously you're using a lot of battery power, but if you want to get the stuff done, it can do it, and that's the advantage of having the fan. I'm pretty happy with the balance here between having a quiet mode and then having a sort of louder high energy mode, high performance mode. Quickly on the keys then, there's the power button on top right. I haven't hit it by accident yet. I've been to hit it a couple of times, but because it's got the light on there, you tend to stop like millimeters short of the button. Apart from that, across the top, oh yeah, there's the Wi-Fi on lamp as well, and you've got integrated keys for brightness and screen off as well, which is quite nice across there, and standby button as well underneath F1. Apart from that, I mean, the layout is pretty good. I don't have any issues with the layout. Even these small cursor keys down the bottom, I mean, I guess I have fairly small fingers, but I don't have a problem with these small cursor control keys. Screen 1366 by 768, glossy, as you can see there, can go really bright. Now this is not full sunlight brightness capable display. For that you need some sort of transflective displays, but it is really bright, and you really have to turn it down low indoors. This is probably on minimal settings right now. Let's have a look, see what we're on. Oh, we're just below half we were, but it goes really high. You won't be able to see that on this because the obviously the compensation on the camera here will adjust that, but it goes really bright. The colors, as I mentioned in the video, they don't seem to pop as much as some displays, glossy displays I've seen, but they're nice. And you've also got a gamma correction mode where you can change colors anyway. This is the normal mode, but you can change it to, there's a sort of a more of a low contrast, and then there's a higher contrast here, vivid mode. So you can play around with the contrasts to get the sort of screen that you like. I don't have any problems with the screen really. Glossy, at least you can put a matte display cover on it, which you can't do with a matte screen. So you've almost got the best of both worlds here. I don't have a problem. In fact, in some ways, the glossy screens can be nice. And you look at that lamp that's being reflected there. If that was a matte display, that would reflect off a larger area of the screen. And you only have to make a very small adjustment to get rid of that completely. On a matte screen, that would still be bleeding in on the top there. My opinion, anyway. Right. Let's start with the trackpad. This is something that a lot of you will be concerned about. Now, I don't have any issues with the trackpad. I think I've got the latest firmware on here, and I think it was in out of the box, the latest firmware. Let me zoom in then on the trackpad so we can show you. It's a one-piece trackpad. It is a button, so it does move, and you can probably see that as I press it. It does move up and down, left and right. There's just one thing you've got to be careful of. What tends to happen with me is my finger tends to drift up when I'm hovering. So if I'm doing some stuff and then I want to single click or right click, and I haven't got used to the sort of double tap to click, in many cases I still tend to hover over this button. What happens is it hovers, it drifts up, and then you're in an area where you're into multi-touch on the main pad, so it starts to affect the cursor, the pointer. So you just got to be careful to keep your finger down there. Two finger scrolling up and down is a bit jerky. I don't like it. It needs to be a lot finer than it is. I don't know whether I can adjust that in the is it Synantec? I've forgotten the name of the touchpad here, but yeah, I don't have major problems with the trackpad. I think it's fine, acceptable, and as long as you don't have this drift issue that I keep having, you shouldn't have any problem with the pointer. But moving on to the keyboard, I do have some issues with this, and like others have mentioned, it requires a different style of typing, and it requires a style of typing that is not really comfortable if you're a touch typist, or you're used to a softer typing experience. So there's two issues, I think. Number one is that you need to hit the keys slightly harder than you would normally do. You also need to hit the keys more central than you normally do. What's happening is that there are the corners of these buttons, they are, and if I really try and zoom in, I don't know if I can do that, but you might be able to see they do tend to flex around a bit. And what can happen is you think you've registered a key press, and it actually goes past that little click that you feel on the key, but it doesn't go down far enough and doesn't register. So I'm missing the key clicks quite a lot, and it's not getting any better. And for me, this is actually it's been a bit of a showstopper, I would say. I want an Ultrabook that I can smoothly type on, because I use my my tablet for consumption. This is the device I'm creating on, and I want to create it in the smoothest way possible. And if I've got a keyboard that is slightly missing key presses occasionally, and I'm talking about, for me, 1 or 2 on every line of text. And it's getting less and less as I move on, but if I'm typing a lot, I find that I'm concentrating on the keys too much, I'm pressing too hard on the keys too much, and I'm getting ache in my hand. So I think this is a real issue that people should be aware of. I'm surprised that this keyboard has slipped through when the rest of the device is such good quality. Alright, let me just stop the recorded session here. I think that's all we need to talk about right at the moment, going around the device. We're going to have more videos going up on YouTube, more recorded sessions, but I want to take a few minutes now to do Q&A with the people in the chat room, because this is the area of focus that a lot of people are looking at and concentrating on. So let me just stop this recording here, and we'll go straight back to the chat room. Thanks for watching part